Hello my friends, my name is Rich and welcome to Greatest Rock and Metal. Greatest Rock and Metal is my thoughts on the greatest rock and metal bands of all time. I base that on listening to thousands of CDs, going to hundreds of gigs, and it's my opinion on what I think are the best albums, the best bands, and some of the best gigs. If you enjoy Greatest Rock and Metal, please press the red button to subscribe, and so you don't miss out on future episodes. Today is a Helloween special, 31st of October 2020, and of course, there can only be one band to talk about for a Helloween special. Well, actually, there could be many. We could do Ozzy Osbourne, we could do King Diamond, we could do Venom, Cradle of Filth, but I have chosen to do Helloween. Of course, Helloween. Now, what was my introduction to Helloween? Well, my introduction to Helloween came in 1987, and it was the song Future World. Now, I don't actually remember how I first heard about this song or where I first heard it, but one thing I do remember for sure is reading a review in Kerrang about this album. The album from which the song Future World came, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. And it's this album that I am going to be talking about today. First, a little bit of Helloween history. They were formed in 1984, and their first album was an album titled Walls of Jericho. And that album was very much dominated by one of the founder members, a guy called Kai Hansen, who was the vocalist and lead guitar player for the band. Good album, but a very, very different style to the Keeper style. This was very much a thrash metal kind of style and more harder vocals. They took what for many was a massive change in 1987. They recruited a new vocalist, a man by the name of Michael Kiske, and his vocal style was very much in the style of Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, the air raid siren style, and he was and still is a brilliant vocalist. And it was this album then, The Keeper of the Seven Keys, that really launched Helloween. And I am sure, I can't remember exactly, it's a long time ago, but I think it was a 5K, which was the top level of review that you could get in Kerrang at that time. And when I saw that review, it's like, I've got to get this album. I am so glad I got this album. It's one of the greatest rock and metal albums of all time, without any shadow of a doubt. Even though Helloween, over the course of 16 studio albums, and are still going today, never really reached great heights, they produced some great albums. And talking about their history more recently, because they had several lineup changes after the Keeper of the Seven Keys era was over. And in 2016, they became Pumpkins Reunited, as they like to say. Two of the main original, or two of the main classic band, not original band, returned to the fold in Kai Hansen and Michael Kiske, who had long since left. But what was quite interesting about it this time, when the old members returned, they still kept the new members. So now actually, if you see Helloween live, they have 3 vocalists. And Andy Derris, who has been with Helloween for a very long time now, Kiske and Hansen. So, let's talk more about Keeper of the Seven Keys. A very short album, only just over 30 minutes long. And as always, I will tell you my top 4 tracks. Well, of course, I've already mentioned Future World. We all live in a future world. Okay, brilliant chorus, great fun song. And that's one of the things about Helloween. A lot of their songs are just fun. And what we are starting to see as well with this album, and many people do believe that this album was the start of the power metal genre. And there is no better example of power metal than the track that ends this album, the epically long, can I see how long it is here? Is it 13 minutes long? 13 minutes long Helloween song. A brilliant song of ups and downs and ins and outs and whatevers. I absolutely love that song. Another couple of tracks that I would pick: A Little Time, A Little Time, A Little Time, a great track, features some Pink Floyd-esque, I might add, sound effects in the middle of the track with lots of ticking clocks and alarms, etc., etc. And another excellent track. And the next track that I would pick, I would say, would have to be the starting track, I'm Alive. Brilliant drumming on this. You got fast pace, I think double bass drumming from the late great drummer Ingo, and a great way to start an album. This is the kind of song that when you're driving in a car, it's like foot down, I'm alive, yeah. You're speeding down the freeway, you're screaming at the top of your lungs. Brilliant song. Highly recommend this album, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1. Now, my first exposure, and actually only exposure, to Helloween Live also came at the time of the Keeper era. Thank God I got to see the band during the legendary Keeper era. But before I talk about that, it is time for Rock Shirts by the Sea. Hope you enjoyed that. So, the one and only time I got to see Helloween was at the 1988, and here's the ticket, Monsters of Rock Festival at Castle Donington, UK. You can see from the shirt here, what a lineup. Iron Maiden, Kiss, David Lee Roth, Megadeth, Guns N' Roses near the bottom of the day, the lineup. And then kicking things off, the band Helloween. I'm going to talk more about this legendary day in a future episode. Now I'm just going to focus on Helloween. Everyone that day was excited to see all of the bands. Helloween had now got 2 albums under their belt from the Keeper era. They had Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 had only just been released. And they're the first band on, so they've got a very small amount of time in which to make an impression. My God, what an impression. Listen to this set list. I've got to read it. Even though it's only 6 songs, I can't remember the order. A Little Time, Helloween, Dr. Steen, Future World, Eagle Fly Free, I'm Alive. A mini set list to die for Helloween fans. And that's really how it felt on that day. During that performance, we were, the crowd, were just in complete ecstasy. It was a brilliant choice for an opening band. They were being compared to Iron Maiden, and of course their musical style did have a lot of Maiden-esque touches to it, with the dual guitar attack and the vocals that sounded similar to Dickinson. But Helloween were very much their own band. Like I said, they had more of a sense of humour, so to speak, within their songs than Maiden did. Maiden songs tend to be quite serious, and they really got the crowd going. The whole day was exciting and tinged with a little bit of sadness, but we'll talk about that another time for those of you who don't know. But Helloween got things off to a great start, and I'm so happy that I got to see the band during that period of time. I'm actually disappointed in myself that for various reasons I was unable to see Helloween going at any other point, and especially sad to miss out on the Pumpkins Reunited. But I hope that once this COVID is all over, I will get to see Helloween again, because they truly are a great band. And if I had to recommend starting points for all of you out there for Helloween, well, of course, Keeper of the Seven Keys Parts 1 and Part 2 are absolutely essential listening. Get them now. Part 2 is equally as brilliant, but for me, 1 has the edge. And also, I would recommend Master of the Rings, this album here. And for something a little bit more modern Helloween, these ones are quite old, more modern history, I would go for this album, 7 Sinners. Okay, there you have it. Thank you for listening, watching Greatest Rock and Metal. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please press the red button to subscribe. And as always, remember, we rock.